your data cleaning pipelines with GPT-3. If you are hoping to revolutionize your data pipelines with GPT-3, you're going to be disappointed, unfortunately. GPT-3 suggested my title, and it went a little bit clickbaity. So we probably can't revolutionize your data cleaning, but hopefully we can impress you. This talk feels pretty well timed at the moment, because OpenAI recently released GPT-3, or just ChatGPT, which has kind of taken over the internet. It's also taken over the Open API servers. So when we get to the live demo, something that used to take about 2 microseconds now takes about 20 seconds. So do bear with me, you're going to be less impressed when we get to that bit. But yeah, ChatGPT3, oh my god, I keep saying 3 at the end of GPT. ChatGPT, still in its first iteration, has just taken over the internet at the moment, and a lot of people are really concerned with how it's all going. But I'm going to talk to you about how we can use the original GPT-3 for data cleaning. So before I begin, my name is Lisa. I work as a data specialism instructor at a company called Digital Futures. I'm also a women's tech maker ambassador as well. So I'm really passionate about technology and how it can transform people's lives. And one of the exciting things about what I'm talking about today is actually it's not really for us. If you're a developer, you probably love regex, or at least tolerate it and use it. And you feel comfortable knowing how to do this. The technology I'm talking about today is actually more about making those kind of transformations available to people that don't and can't or won't understand regex and similar technologies. It's actually quite funny, so I used a template for this presentation, and throughout they had holding titles, which was "Solution is easy when you find the problem." And this was so relevant for technologies like GPT-3 and ChatGPT at the moment. We all know they're really cool. We can sit there and try to have conversations with ChatGPT, but when it actually comes to using it and actually comes to making it part of your ML workflow, that's when it becomes a little bit more difficult. It's cool, fun technology, but how can we actually use it and embed it in what we do? So today I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about what GPT-3 is, just so we all know. I'm going to hopefully try and show you why we can use it for data cleaning, why it's a little bit exciting to do that. Then we're going to look at how you can add it to your pipelines in a live demonstration. Also going to go quite quickly because we're not running on time, so I want to get us back on track for Gus, who is talking next. So what even is GPT-3? It is a generative pre-trained transformer. It's the 3rd iteration of it. It's got 175 billion parameters. So basically it's been trained on a metric fudge load of data. It was created in 2017. Google were the first people to kind of come up with this idea. But essentially it can create human-like responses and outputs. Its main way of doing this is the masked language model. This is essentially that you take a sentence, you remove a couple of words, you feed it to the model, and you basically train it until it can regurgitate the same sentence, having filled in the blanks. Once it can do that, it can start to generate or complete much more text. If you are hoping to learn a lot more about GPT-3, I'm sorry, that's about as detailed as we are going to go into it. When it comes to actually using GPT-3, there's 2 main ways to do it. One is through the sandbox, which is just here. Unlock the power of GPT-3, transform your data cleaning process was another suggested title. Apologies, it's very tiny. But you've essentially got several different models you can pick from. I've been using DaVinci, which is the latest one. There's several other different models as well. You've also got your temperature. This is kind of how wild you would like it to be. A high temperature means it's going to be very creative. A low temperature means it's going to be very uncreative. You've got the length, which is just how much you want it to give back. There is also an API, and it works very nicely in Python. Cool. So, when it comes to data cleaning, we all know that it is a huge part of the work we do as data scientists. It's time consuming, and depending on your opinion, you probably think it's pretty boring. We all want to jump in and start actually creating models rather than cleaning our data. One of the problems with main traditional data cleaning is its reliance on patterns. We do a lot of regex, we do a lot of pattern matching. We are looking for those patterns, and if those patterns change, our cleaning breaks. And this is where a language model can come in. It's highly technical. Regex is hard. There's a couple of people in this room that know that I refuse to give workshops on regex because I just can't do it. So they give the workshops on regex instead. It's also limited to the current knowledge in the data. And this is the bit where it gets really exciting to use GPT-3, because it can bring in extra context and extra awareness to the cleaning it is doing. Nice. It can also give us the data cleaning that non-technical people think exists. When you're presented with a passage of text, a lot of non-technical people don't understand why we can't just magically separate the names and the addresses out and various different components out. With GPT-3, we can do it. We can answer those questions in that very human way. So when should we not do this? When is GPT-3 not your cleaning solution? The first one is when it's invalid data. So this is date of verbs that are in the future. This is any time there's business rules and our data maybe contravenes them. GPT-3 not really going to be able to help with us on that. It is often confidently incorrect, so wouldn't recommend it for anything that is actually a business rule. Missing records, imputing null records, or making decisions about what to do with our nulls. GPT-3 is not going to be able to help. Also outliers. It can't perform statistical analysis. It's a language model, so we probably shouldn't use it for handling our outliers and trying to do statistical analysis. Cool, so let's look at what it can do. Hopefully this is large enough for you to all see. So here, a very basic example. What is the currency of this? Here is £100. I've asked for the answer in currency code, and it says GBP. And fairly straightforward. We could have done this using something like left one and then a lookup table. So not that impressive. How about this one? Extract all of the human names from this passage. So Gus is after me, but his name is also sometimes Lewis. But here we go. It's managed to pick up those 2 human names from the talk. So it's able to do some context-aware things. It knew what we meant by human name. Let's introduce Fido. So Fido was a great dog. You can see it's still not picked up the name Fido. It's not just looking for names, it's understood that we would like human names. What if Fido is a human name? What if Fido gave a talk on machine learning? We can now see that Fido has been recognized as a human name. It's used that context awareness in the cleaning to now know that Fido is likely a human because they're giving a talk on machine learning. Although if you do have a dog called Fido that would like to talk on machine learning, I'll be at the front. I'm very excited. What if we now add a little bit more context about Fido? He's running around a park, catching the ball and playing fetch. He's now been excluded. GPT-3 thinks it's a dog again, so is not being picked up. So it's using that context awareness in order to give us a little bit more insight, which is super cool. So we can use this quite a lot in things like cleaning up addresses and extraction. So here we're asking it to extract. I don't know why I put please. I'm being very polite to GPT-3 here. But I'm asking for the things that I would like and then giving it an address. Here's the address. here's the output. If you've not used the playground before, anything highlighted in green is the response from GPT-3. So anything in white that you see is the input, green highlighted text is the output. But you can see that it's done a great job of highlighting the parts of the address. Good stuff. It can also bring in additional details as well. So we don't say Mississippi in here, we just use the state code, which is MS. But we can see it's done a pretty good job of working out that MS is Mississippi. Good. Cool, so I've got a really quick live demo for you. We're just going to skip over to Google Colab. The Python code is not that impressive. You cannot see what I can see right now. I don't know why. Oh, super fun. Cool. It looks a little bit like this. You need to install OpenAI. I'm going to read in secrets. And here's what it looks like. So we've basically got the same prompt we had before, and it's going to return us a JSON file, which is going to have all of the responses in. We're doing a tiny little bit of string cleaning up here, just to make it a tiny bit easier. And what I've actually done is web scraped the addresses of all of the developer fests in the world. And then, because GPT-3 is currently overloaded, I took a random sample of just 15, because if we did it for all of the dev fests, it would take too long. So really simple function, takes in an address, and it's going to return where it is. Quickly run that. So we're just using pandas here. We're reading in my devfest.csv, and then we're just running it through. I should have showed you the data frame beforehand to show you that I'm not faking this. We can see it's just going to take a moment to run because everyone's using ChatGPT. Hands up, who's been playing with ChatGPT? Yeah, everyone. It's super fun. Yeah, all of those people, it used to take a couple of microseconds. Now it does not take a microsecond. It used to be fast, I promise. Hey, Rick.
Hi, so if you had like 100,000 rows in CSV,
yeah.
How long would it roughly, what's the performance right now?
Yeah, so I've only got 15 and it took 30 seconds. Okay. So approximately 2 seconds per record at the moment. Okay. So a long time. Not hugely scalable. It used to take, I could do about 1,000 records in about 1 second. So much better. Now not so much. Hopefully.
Are they going to come out with a model that you can run on your local VM, like a smaller model?
That is definitely an option as well. Kind of like pre-training yourself. TensorFlow is a great technology for that. That's not very bad. So here's our data frame. Don't know if you're impressed, but we've now got the country and city of all of those addresses, which were not present in the data beforehand. Show you the full addresses. Yeah, so we've managed to, I think accurately, collect the city and the country of all of those things. Of course, we could have done this through traditional cleaning, but it would have been a lot more challenging. We would have needed maybe some kind of map lookup, maybe some kind of something, I don't know. This feels like a very accessible and easy way of approaching the problem.
Can we get access to this code snippet somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. I will share my workbook magically somehow with you. Cool. Just to quickly wrap up, you can take this a tiny bit too far. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Titanic dataset. You've probably used it for your toy machine learning things. In the training dataset that comes in the Kaggle version of the Titanic, there's 2 passengers that don't have an embarkment. If you Google them, you can find out they actually got on at Southampton. Or if you ask GPT-3, it will tell you that Amelia Stone and George Nelson got on at Southampton. So this is maybe a step too far using it to clean in this way, because obviously for real data sets, you're not going to quite have this thing. But fairly impressive that it was able to look that up. Cool. So when might we actually use it? When the data is unpredictable, when we don't know the patterns. You saw it doing the address extraction, and it can do that when the address is a mess. So unlike using regex and pattern matching, we're not looking at patterns, we're looking at the words themselves. So when we talk about context awareness, this is what we mean. So if your data is unpredictable, unstructured, and doesn't follow patterns, maybe give GPT-3 a chance, give it a go, and see if it can help with your cleaning. Thank you so much. If you have any questions and you're not sat in those 3 seats, then please let me know. Cool, thank you so much.